Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel where I share great ideas. The idea that I want to share with you today I feel is one of my most useful and greatest ideas as an aid here in the shop. Whenever you make a project, you have many good tools and you're able to construct something, but what's the last thing you do? Well, you have to do sanding. So I've made a little sanding unit that's super simple to make, and it's going to just pop onto my lathe here, the one that I made. You may have seen that video as well, and I call it my scrap iron lathe. But a lot of times you're lathing, but a lot of times the lathe's just sitting, so why not have something that you can just pop on there and have a tool that's useful to you 100% of the time. Or if you don't have a lathe, or you want to choose to make this with a motor, separate motor assembly, that's a great idea as well. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for subscribing, all those that subscribe to this channel. That gives me a great incentive to do more, share ideas for you. So without further ado, let's take a look at this unit and how it works there. So, okay, this is the unit here, belt sander using 6x48 belts. Anyway, it's a very simple device. There's two rollers, front and back here. And to make a belt sander, you have to have two things that you have to design into it, and that is how to tension the belt and how to adjust it for tracking. Well, a lot of people come up with some ingenious ideas, but this is a simple idea that I came up with. Why not just take the shaft and put threads inside of it, a little plate on the end there, and one on each side, and you adjust both of them up. Of course, you can tension or loosen, and then tighten one or the other to do your tracking. Simple as that. In order to do this, though, you have to put the bearing in the front roller here. The bearing goes in the front roller. But in the video that I'll make I'll show you how to do that and get it nice and centered there. And also another idea for putting threads in here if you don't have a tap, and things to watch out for. So when that comes up, you'll want to watch that if you're at all interested. This front pulley here has to have a slight crown on it to maintain your tracking. The rear one, it is flat. You want to have the rear one flat, the front one crowned. When I made this, I ended up putting a crown on both of them. I thought, well, if one's good, why not two? But what happens is it stretches it in the middle on both ends. So this stretches a little bit, and when it comes, if you have this one crowned, it stretches it some more, so you end up with a bubble in the middle of your lathe. So you want to have it stretched only here, and then when it comes over the back roller, it flattens it out again. So anyway, when I first made this one, I planned on the motor, so I had a center in the shaft, but so I had to drill a hole in the end here in order to use it on the lathe. Then I've made one up already for the YouTube for different steps, and I have that shaft sticking out, and I'll show you that one later, but I thought I'd demonstrate on my prototype. The first one that I used a chuck, and then that little pin, I think did I show you that before? That's there. That just went between the jaws. Well, I made this little chuck right on the lathe so it's perfectly centered, and then cut a slot in it for the pin, and you just cut right through it. Of course, it's screwed on there, that's okay. And then being wood, it was a little bit loose, so I took a piece of tubing, steel tubing, and put it in there and cut a slot in there so it's double reinforced there, but it ran good with just the wood in the slot there. So I'll stick this on here, and that just goes in there. You have to line up the little slot, and things never go as fast as it should. And that just pops on there. And then this assembly here is for, that just pops down there, holds in place there, and then that's right in there. So now I'll just tighten up this. The whole process can only take less than a minute once you know what you're doing. And that's all set up to go there. Now, I don't think I've shown you the tracking. So I have a little, just keep a little screwdriver with a little socket on the end of it. These are 7/16 bolts for tightening here. As I've already mentioned, I've got threads inside of here. And I'll show you another method of doing that so you don't have to put threads when I make up the video. And this is cut off here close enough so, of course, you'd have that back and just loosen up and slide your belt right off, slide a new one on, different grit, whatever. Anyway, let's start this up because you have to do this when it's running. I can just loosen that. If I loosen that, or tighten it, loosen it, it comes out, tighten it, it goes down there. You'll get it too much and then you can adjust either side. It doesn't matter which side you work once you have your tension done. Okay, so that's done up there. Keep that in my back pocket there, then I can find it when I want it. So the first thing I'll demonstrate is cutting a longer piece. Without a stop here, which your commercial ones would come, you're able to do edge sand long pieces here, back and forth, all the way along. And that's quite useful. This edge here is very rough. And on the demonstration I did this side, which didn't have any, my card was full. So I'll just run that over. You'll see the dust coming off of here, even running at the lower speed. I'm sure you don't want to sand and have dust flying around, so I've got the dust collector hooked up, the pipe here, and for doing that I have a special thing that just sets on there. The air is going to keep it in place, and now I'll turn the dust collector on. Well, I did that without the dust collector on, so we'll turn it on now. Sucks it right off in there. I thought that was funny why the dust was coming out there a little bit. Now you can also do any size piece that you want there. Or you take a larger piece like a burl or something like that, or sand that down. Having got the slower speed, they just need to hold on to it. This is unsanded, and that's sanded. It just takes minutes. Let's do a little bit more. very long, did it? And a lot of times you want to use it with a stop. Now I was just going to drill a couple holes through here and put some pins, and you could just put a stop on there, but I found that oh, okay, it's back here is where my holes are. Okay. I was looking at the nails there, but a lot of times you'll just use it with a stop on, and it's just as well, just to secure it up nice, like that. Now this would work quite well here. It would still pick up the stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Fix the nuts up really good. Super good for doing the end. Sands it off with no burning at all. But instead of using this one, I made this one like that. Notice these holes in here, so it'll suck through there as well. Now this will go on there, just holes on there, and it'll suck more stuff into those holes and it'll come up. Now you can sand to your heart's content now. You got something to lead it up against. Small projects are fantastic to do, and of course it doesn't plug up near as much. You can just take one of those belt cleaners there. I found it super easy to build. You can build it in an afternoon or a day, a couple afternoons, because you have to glue make the rollers, which is quite simple. And okay, so this is the unit here that I made for the YouTube video. On this one, I put a piece of metal that I found on there. It's actually painted aluminum, just some scrap I had. On this one here, for the backing plate here, I just had some scrap arborate and put that on one to see how that goes like there. But this one you can see I made I let the shaft go through on both sides. There's my drive side, and there's my side, so I can support it with the tailstock here. What I'm sort of going to do, and you'll see that in maybe a future video, I'm just going to put a coupler between this one and this one and have both of them mounted on here with a bearing in the center, and I can have a finer grit on one and a coarser grit on the other. And that's kind of an interesting concept, but it only costs, the bearings cost, let's say $5 each. So $4 or $5 bearings, and then the shaft, you probably pick up that for $10, $15. This one here, the guy didn't have cold rolled shafting, so he ended up getting stainless steel shafting. I don't recommend that at all. There's problems trying to tap it if you were going to tap it, so I had to do another method there for my adjustment here, which I'll show you. So anyway, thanks for watching. I've found this one of my most useful, simplest tools that I have in the shop here. I have other sanders too, but I have actually another belt sander, a commercial one, running 3450, but it doesn't work on end grain with the hoot, and this one's so simple and easy to use. I have it set up when I need it. If I need delayed less than 20 seconds, then it's off there, because all you have to do is back off the that takes the longest there. I had it set so I could just pop it off And there you go. That comes off like that. That just sits there. And this just, of course, comes off, and you're ready to go lathing. Pop it back on, you're ready to go sanding. How much better could it get? So anyway, thanks for watching, and subscribe, and it'll be a while before I can get I'll put a plan on as well, and that you can, people like plans, I guess. I just build stuff. I don't do plans, but I'll make one up for you. And put that on one of my next videos here. I'll take my computer with me, and maybe I'll get time to put it all together. But this was a simpler video because it's just kind of a one-shot deal. Hope you found it interesting, and see you again, and tune in for more great ideas.